Well, welcome again to the show. Everyone at some point in time experiences some sort of mental health issue. Could be anxiety, depression, emotional, or whatever. And one of the biggest groups of those that do, and sometimes we don't even know about it, are children and teens. So we have with us today Jessie Robertson, who is the owner of Bloom Wellness over in Ocean Springs. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Tell me a little bit about yourself first.
Okay, I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I've been in practice for about 16 years now. And I own a group practice in Ocean Springs, and we have myself and 2 other therapists, and we have 1 more therapist starting in a couple weeks.
Now, this is something that not everybody can do. I mean, because you've got to have patience, patience, kindness, and all kinds of things to work with people who are dealing with mental health issues.
Yeah. Well, all of us have, a license to practice. We've been trained clinically to work with all kinds of mental health issues and assess and diagnose and kind of see what's going on with people and kind of get that big picture and help kind of come up with a plan to best serve them. Lots of education and training goes into getting us there. And
one of the big things, of course, as we mentioned, is kids, teens, and we want to talk mainly today about how parents can stay connected with their children with that. How common is it for an adolescent or a teen to have a mental health issue?
It's actually really common, and I think people don't realize that. A study done back in, I think it was 2019, the National Institute of Health did a study, and they say that 1 in 3 teens, so 13 to 18, has anxiety at any given time. So 1 in 3 is very common, actually.
Wow.
And so we see it a lot. We see it, I think sometimes people have the misconception that it's obvious that, some kid looks like they're struggling, but a lot of times we see it in very high-performing, high-achieving kids because they push themselves so much.
Right.
And so we see it a lot in just the
yeah.
gamut. Yeah.
What are some of the things that might contribute to these types of the anxiety or whatever in a child or a teen?
Well, certainly we see, like I mentioned, the high-performing kids. There's a lot of expectation put on kids, even if they are maybe not always high-performing. We have so many pressures on kids.
And it could be high performing in so many different, it could be athletically,
absolutely,
scholastically.
Absolutely. It's whatever their thing is,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of them put that pressure upon themselves and saying,
Yes.
I've got to do this, I got to be the best or whatever.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that there's a lot of anxiety and stress involved in that.
Yeah. And I mean, it goes down to even simple things like, well, I guess it's not simple to the teachers and the kids, but like state testing and things like that. That are a lot of pressure on the schools, and so kids want to do well, they want to please people. So there's a lot of that can, and like you said, athletics. It might be something that they really are, whatever is their thing that they really want to do well in. It can cause a lot of pressure and their own expectations of themselves.
Yeah.
So we see that. We also see social media is certainly a huge contributor to that.
Cyberbullying.
Absolutely. Yeah, because people feel like they can, if they're behind their screen,
Right.
they say things they wouldn't say to you in person.
And there's a lot of adults out there that do it as well. So,
Absolutely, and it's hard for an adult to tolerate that. But if you look at a kid or a teen who hasn't really fully developed their sense of self. I mean, let's face it, we're all still working on it, right?
Yeah.
And so if you see a kid that's struggling or just trying to figure out who they are, and they're constantly, oh, well, I didn't get as many likes as this kid did, or I posted this picture and I photoshopped it and everything, and they still think I'm ugly. It's a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of pressure. Thank goodness I didn't have to deal with that when I was growing up.
Yeah, you and I both.
I mean, really, yeah.
There was no such thing as the internet back when I was growing up at that age. How has the pandemic impacted their anxiety with the young people?
Well, I mean, I think it's easy to see that the pandemic has affected all of us, right?
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's not just us locally, but I mean the world. I mean, people have been really stressed. It was scary for a while, having everything shut down, school closing. You know, one of the biggest things for kids developmentally is they want to be with their friends,
right.
And they want to be socially connected. And
interaction is a big thing.
Huge. I mean, they're developmentally appropriate is, I always have to look at that, is that they want to connect with friends more than family, and that's the way that it's supposed to be. They're supposed to be learning how to be independent, right? And connect to other people. And the pandemic changed a lot of that, even to the point that they weren't even going into a classroom for school, even this year. Most of the schools have opened back up and they are in classrooms, but some of them were doing hybrid schedules, and I saw a lot of kids struggling with that as well, because it was hard to, like, one day I'm at home and in my pajamas and not having to see anybody, and the next day I have to kind of like get it together. And it was stressful for kids, and so we see a lot of that.
What are some of the signs that parents can look for, can look for that?
One thing is changes in behavior, fatigue, if they're complaining about physical complaints, headaches, school avoidance.
Avoidance from their own friends.
Avoidance from their own friends, actually. Not wanting to engage in activities that maybe they normally would. So.
And if they see these signs, what can they do?
Talk to your kids. That's a great step. Talk to your children, ask them questions, not just how are you or how was your day, but hey, is anything, what would bother you in a given day? Encourage them to disconnect from, unplug, put the phones down when you're at the dinner table and everybody actually have conversations. Put the phones down and go outside, disconnect from, some kids aren't into phones, they're into the gaming systems, unplug those. And so really trying to connect with them, encourage them to get some activity outside of some of the pressures that maybe they normally have.
We have less than a minute left, Jessie. What are, if someone wants to use your services, what do they need to do?
They can call our office, or they can go to our website. There's a form on our website where they can fill out and request an appointment, and then we will call them back for them. You can also, there's lots of great counselors on the coast. You can find a licensed therapist to kind of talk you through and help you get the help you need.
All right. Jessie Robinson, owner of Bloom Mental Health over in, Bloom Wellness actually, over in Ocean Springs. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. If you have some teenagers or even younger than that need some help, numbers on your screen, give them a call at Bloom.